And it got to a point where we got too loud because like the couples would come out, like when Lauren and Cameron came out, we were like, oh. And they're like, shh, shh.
In season 1, we shot that one in Atlanta. We were very, very, very involved. We were there throughout the entire pod experiences. We actually would interview them as they came out of their dates in the pods. Once they went on the getaway, we were in the getaway with them. We came back to Atlanta and we'd visit them in their apartments. And we were kind of there checking in through every step of the process.
All the way. We were at their weddings.
And at the weddings.
We were talking to them before the wedding, before they walked down the aisle. We were throughout all of it.
Yeah, and I think just in post-production, in editing, they figured out that, hey, let's let the kind of story tell itself. We don't need Nick and Vanessa to narrate their way through it. We're of the mindset that whatever's best for the show is kind of what we feel like we want to be supportive of. Certainly, we wish we were more involved. We're as interested as anyone and care about these people from the very beginning to the end. So we want to be as much a part of it as we possibly can. But we certainly also, at the same time, respect that this is what has worked for the show, and we want to support that in any way we can.
This is their journey. They don't need Nick and Vanessa to sit down with them and go, how are things? And, because there was a little bit of communication in season 1. I won't say specifically, but we sat down with one of the couples that made it to the altar that didn't end up saying yes. And I remember specifically he asked Nick point blank a question on camera, and Nick answered it to him, and it got his wheels thinking. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. He was like, I don't think I'm ready. And so then we just wonder, you need to come to that conclusion on your own, not because Nick or Vanessa tell you what happened to them, or like that's not part of a true experiment and journey, if you will. We love that we can introduce them to it and that we're this thread for every season, but it's really about their journey and figuring it out. And so we see them after we've seen all the episodes, just like everyone else at the reunion. And the first time we see them is in the pods. We don't even see them at the getaway anymore. We see them at wedding and tux fittings. It's literally, we have the same perspective as a viewer, but we also have the inside perspective as the couple who met and blossomed in this journey like them, but also who's been there through all the seasons. So maybe that's why it works, because we're not so involved and they have to figure it out on their own. And also they can't blame us.
Right.
This was your fault, Nick. You told me to marry her.
Season 1 was totally different.
We were in the control room and we were like, oh my gosh, with like popcorn watching. There were dozens of screens. And even now, with the amount of screens now, I mean, it looks like a NASA,
It's like mission control for launching a rocket into space. Huge production, as you can imagine.
Well-oiled
a ton of cameras. We're not necessarily there watching it every step of the way. The flip side of that is we're as excited as anyone. When we get to sit down and watch the episodes preparing for the reunion, we're as excited and as interested and as intrigued as anyone else out there watching it. We don't know how this all played out. We certainly know how it ended. We hear that bit, but we don't see how all those storylines played out until we actually get to sit down and watch the season, which I think is great for us because we're kind of the perspective of the viewer, if you will. We used to be in the control room, but we talked too much, so they made us. They said, "You guys get out of here.
You know what they had in
distracting."
season 1? Do you remember? We all used to be at the reveal. So when they would come out on the red carpet, it was me, it was Nick. We had like the glam girls there. We had costume design. We had audio. We had everybody standing there, the PAs, and it got to a point where we got too loud because like the couples would come out. Like when Lauren and Cameron came out, we were like, oh. And they're like, shh, shh. So season 1, we had it was like a crowd. So the red carpet was here. They'd come out and behind the camera were probably, 50 people. And so after that, they're like, no more people at the reveal. Just the cameras and the couple. This is their moment.
We've actually been banned from the set. There's a restraining order. No, kidding.
Not.
Totally kidding.
Oh my
There's no restraining order. In season 1, we'd go to work all day. As we just said, we were on set for pretty much the entire first season.
I'd be on the women's side and he'd be on the men's side. We were separated.
Yeah.
And then we would come back together at the hotel. This was the first time I decided to have bourbon. And I'm like, I'll have what he's having in Atlanta. Why not? And we would.
Yeah, we would just sit for hours, talk about the day. And after having worked on it all day, we still were excited to sit down and talk about it and discuss all the intricacies of the process and who's liking who and who's. So I said, if we're this excited to talk about it after having worked on it all day, I gotta believe people out there watching are gonna be like thoroughly intrigued as to how this thing plays out.
Oh, we were so tickled. I vividly remember sitting there going, okay, remember this day? There was a day I said, so-and-so, I won't put them on blast. asked, what do they look like? And she said XYZ. And I was like, we both were like, I could see that. And I go, what did he say? And Nick's like, oh my gosh, he said he looks like XYZ. And we were both like, no way. And we just were so enthralled, to his point, in the concept of just communicating with someone without them seeing it. And this was after hours of filming on the set in Atlanta. And we would still just be so giddy talking about it. We're like, there's something special about this show.